Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the Maker. And welcome back to this series in which we are discussing spell work. Today, in particular, we are discussing the planetary correspondences. So I hope you will forgive me if I read a little more than usual, but I need to be extremely precise. So, as we said, in today's video, which will probably be a little longer than usual, we will learn the basics on planetary correspondences. Knowing these correspondences and what we call on a planetary energy for will allow us to practice planetary spell work, which is a perfect blend of great powers that can also be controlled through our knowledge and willpower to build a spell perfect for any occasion in which we may need a spell, of course. This is the type of spell work that we will use more often because it's simple enough, very powerful, and while also being extremely adaptable to situations. But first, we need to know what each planet talks us about and a few correspondences to use to call upon the planet, to call upon his power, if you want. So now we will discuss the 7 main planets of our magical system. Not all of them are astronomical planets. Some may be even satellites or stars. They are astrological planets. But don't worry, you don't need to have an extensive knowledge of astrology. I just need you to try to understand the nature of the planets, the sensation, to feel the sensation you receive from every single planet, and then I would love for you to take notes to remember the correspondences we will quote. Without further ado, let's begin with Saturn. Saturn is the ruler, the planet of contracts, which are extremely important in our tradition, the planet of law, restrictions, obligation, and responsibilities. Saturn is a great force related to knowledge, time, and order that we will call upon to work on bindings, banishings, working on obstacles, placing or removing them, or to work on discipline, especially our self-discipline, or even to work upon and with banks and real estates. Saturn is related to the day of Saturday. His color is black, and his tarot card, the tarot card correspondent to Saturn, is the world. The easiest herbs to acquire correspondent to Saturn in our tradition are parsley, cumin, ivy, pine, and aloe. If you're into crystals, you may consider working with obsidian, onyx, iolite, or black tourmaline. Saturn will help us greatly in overcoming obstacles, and eventually Saturn will help us greatly in stopping our enemies. Let's continue with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, prosperity, and wealth, but also of popularity, expansion, and growth, while also having dominion over protection and defense. So we will call upon the powers of Jupiter to obtain protection of any sort for us and our assets, or to safeguard others we care about. Jupiter is related to the day of Thursday, the color blue or sometimes purple, and his tarot card is the Wheel of Fortune. The easiest herb to acquire, herbs, plural, forgive me, I'm not a native English speaker. The easiest herbs to acquire corresponding to Jupiter in our tradition again are anise and star anise, cloves, oregano, sage, and juniper. If you like to work with crystals, you got many options with Jupiter, but I will personally go for lapis lazuli, amethyst, lazulite, or azurite. Now, if Saturn is the scepter of the ruler, Jupiter is the protective shield behind which we can live prosperous life if properly used. And now we will get to Mars. Mars is the planet of strength, of lust, of motivation and energy. But also, Mars is the planet of war, of wrath, of distraction and rage. We will call upon the mighty power of Mars to maintain great energy and performance in many fields, not only physical, even if mainly physical. But we may also call on the power of Mars to smite our enemies if we have no other choice. Mars is related to Tuesday, the color red, and his tarot card is the Tower. The easiest herbs to acquire related to Mars in our tradition are basil, my favorite herbs to work with, cinnamon, black pepper, chili pepper, and chives. Crystals related to the power of Mars are pyrite, carnelian, bloodstone, ruby, and garnet, or actually anything coming from a meteorite. If Jupiter is the shield to protect ourselves and our well-being, Mars is the sword that channels our energy towards our objectives. The blade we use to face hostilities. talking about fiery powers, we now need to talk about the sun. The sun represents success, vitality, power, leadership, and advancement. He is also related to our ego, our self-image, and our personal power. Together with his counterpart, the moon, of course, he is also strongly correlated to creativity and inspiration. If you want inspiration through illumination, we will call upon the radiant power of the sun to illuminate our way to success in any aspect of our life, while being careful not to be burned by our ego, by our pride, even if we already reached success and fame. The sun is related to Sunday, of course. His colors are gold and yellow, and his tarot card is, of course, the sun. The easiest herbs to acquire related to the sun in our tradition are laurel or bay, depending on how you want to call it, chamomile, rosemary, daisies, lemons, oranges, and tangerines. If you want to work with crystals, I will go for tiger's eye, amber, citrine, or obviously sandstone. If Mars is the sword we can use to fight towards our objectives, the sun is the crown of our success, wiping away any doubt with his brilliance. We will now talk about the wonderful planet Venus. Venus is related to love, beauty, romance, relationship, and nature. She's the muse of art and music, of social affairs, and represents female sexuality, in opposition to Mars, which of course represents male sexuality. We are going to call upon the beautiful Venus to find love, not the luxury, the sexual energy of Mars, to find love, emotional love, for us or for others. And we will call upon Venus to aid us in our relationships, especially of social nature. We will also call her to heal physical or emotional wounds, or even spiritual wounds in some cases, to heal ourselves or of course others, especially to heal from pain. Venus is related to Friday. Her colors are green and pink, and her tarot card is the Empress. The easiest herbs to acquire related to Venus in our tradition are roses, marjoram, thyme, peppermint, licorice, catnip, and heather. In some interpretations, we find again oregano together with Jupiter. In the crystal department, we find malachite, aventurine, especially green aventurine, emerald, turquoise, with, of course, many others. Now, if the sun is the crown, glorifying our success and glorifying our objectives, Venus is the medicine, healing us in body and spirit, allowing us to build healthy relationships and eventually to find love. Then we will talk about Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication and travel, the planet of commerce and any kind of business related to trading. His domain on communication extends to any kind of transmission of knowledge, either to the spoken word or the written word. So we find correspondences to the act of writing, to information in general, intellect, wisdom, science, and even memory. The power of Mercury, in his amazing abilities in transformation, allows us to call upon the powers of the planet for any kind of communication and or travel. These represent thoughts turning into words and experiences, transforming ourselves. To make an example. But also we can call upon Mercury for any kind of healing operation or for any kind of deep transformation operation, while also changing possibilities and modifying chances to change results. Mercury is related to Wednesday. I hope he's right. At least you got the subtitles now. But the color of Mercury is orange, or sometimes you may also find mixed colors, like in a rainbow, for example. And the correspondent tarot card to Mercury is the Magician. The easiest herbs to acquire related to Mercury in our tradition are nutmeg, lavender, dill, palo santo, mulberry, and wisteria. I hope it's right. Wisteria. To work with crystals, we're in a bit of trouble since we will find a lot of crystals and stones. We've met before with other planets like topaz, lapis lazuli, aventurine, and many more. So I usually will work with quartz, a crystal always harmonizable to the energy we are working with. Just remember, if Venus is the medicine healing ourselves from the inside, Mercury is the book we read to take information toward the inside, to transform ourselves and in turn change our reality to and with new knowledge. Finally, we will talk about the moon. If Mercury represents transformation, the moon is glorified in mutation, manifestation of change in its many aspects of change. On there are many aspects in case we are talking about the moon. The moon is change manifest, the constant transformation of our universe, clearly visible and represented even visually in the moon cycle. The moon has domain over the subconscious mind, over dreams and imagination. So, of course, also on inspiration and instinct, even creativity and insight through dreams, usually. A mutable nature is in the female nature, even physically, if you want, even physically influenced by the moon cycle in body and emotion, while also present in the feminine part of the mind, the subconscious mind, allowing us to explore our depths, even to the point of astral travel, or developing and or discovering psychic abilities within ourselves. Or on the opposite side of the spectrum, unleashing in ourselves illusion, deceptions, and confusion, or others, if we know how to channel the power of the moon. Now, the moon is related to Monday, the color silver or white, and the major arcana, the tarot card of the moon, is, of course, the moon, or the high priestess, depending on your interpretation and what aspect of the moon you are taking in consideration. The easiest herbs to acquire related to the moon in our tradition are jasmine, lemon balm or sweet balm, depending on how you want to call it, tobacco, hibiscus, camellia, and raspberry. To work with crystals, you may want to use selenite, calcite, or obviously moonstone. If we need to take in consideration, if Mercury is the book we use to transform ourselves and our reality through knowledge, the moon is the mirror we use to operate change and metamorphosis in ourselves through intuition. At this point, we may talk about the remaining planets in our magical tradition: Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. But we will rarely use the unpredictable and chaotic powers outside of special operations in advanced spell work. For the time being, I need you to understand the basics of the main 7 planets. Take careful notes, and we will see again in the next video to learn the technique of candle magic. Maybe in 2 parts, depending on how long it becomes. We will see. But, of course, as always, I deeply thank you for your kind attention, and may eternal light shine upon you.